I am a paranormal girl at heart. And with the paranormal, I think, genre, it's like everything has been kind of written about. So I wanted to write about something that you don't see quite often, especially in young adult fiction, which is the gargoyle. You don't really see about them. We went with wardens instead of saying gargoyles all the time. But my beings are definitely 100% gargoyles. They're not what you think they look like. They do have a human form, and then they do shift into a gargoyle form, which is made of stone. And the way they're described, I did take some of the characteristics from the statues that you're familiar with, but then I added my own little twists to what they do look like when they're in their human form.
The detail on the back shoulder is really pretty, so good.
I think the number one challenge of editing paranormal is always keeping track of the logistics and the world building. There's a lot of different species that you're talking about that all have different names that you have to remember and keep track of. We're always monitoring the market. There's a very close feedback loop with our marketing team, our sales group. We're in constant contact with the booksellers, and all of that information is ultimately fed back to the editors, and that's how we make our acquisitions decisions. And in turn, we go out to the agents and we say, can you send me this? Because we think that gargoyles are an emerging trend, or we think maybe vampires have kind of hit their peak and nobody is reading them anymore. So it's kind of an educated guess, but first and foremost, I like to acquire what I love to read. And so it's very subjective and very personal.
Usually I start with the characters first. Well, that's not completely true. I do have an idea, like with White Hot Kiss, I knew it was going to be about gargoyles. But I start with the character first, and then I get an idea what my main characters are going to be like. Then I build off those characters into the world itself. So the world building is something that literally happens as I'm writing. I really have no great plan when I sit down. I just know that, hey, we have gargoyles, yay. And so that's about the extent, which usually that scares editors a little bit when they're like, oh, so what's your world like? Oh, no. In the world of White Hot Kiss and the Dark Elements, society is aware of the wardens. They have kind of come out of the shadows. People know that they're real. So they're kind of like superheroes to some of humans, and then to other humans they see them as demons, because there's, a lot of people think gargoyles are evil, but in reality, throughout mythology, gargoyles were there to ward off against evil.
Her voice, her characters are so compelling and so relatable, even as someone who is nearly twice the age of all the characters that she's writing about. She really transcends the appeal just to teenagers, and I think really speaks to adults as well. And the other joy is just reading about this girl who is caught between two worlds and two very different boys, and ultimately will have a big decision to make.